Crazy Camp Life, votes, and tribals. The life of a survivor is more than you see on TV. So if you need the scoop on island survival, crack a coconut, put on some rice, and let's spill the immunity. Hey everybody, welcome to Spill the Immunity. I am Bree. I'm here with Brandon and Alex. Brandon, so good to have you back with us.
Great to be back to cover the end of episode 1 of, of Survivor 46.
Yeah, it's been a long fight, and they've been super long. It's just been, it's like, you know what I mean? Like we had two 2-hour episodes and then these 90-minute episodes. And like you said, it really does feel like we're just finally getting into the show.
Yeah.
It's been a rough one.
Well, they said we're already halfway over and we haven't even gone to tribal council or something like that. I was like, what? Like with this new, 29-day season. I can't believe that. It's hard to, or are they going to vote like 7 people off in the next, tribal or?
You know what? They voted all the people I don't want to see again off. So now we finally start voting off. And maybe I'll be excited if one of my favorites gets voted off because there'll be a little bit of excitement. Man, I tell you what, Jim, this is what happens. Jim is what happens when your tribe does not go to a tribal council, does not have time to build trust. So it's all artificial trust, even though you think it's trust. And this is exactly what takes place when this happens.
100%. Hey, Brennan, wanted to say hi. Thanks for stopping in. We are glad to have you with us. We'd love to hear your opinion as well on what you think. But yeah, Gem was, it's just, we did have some gems this episode that I do want to point out. Ben gave us one of my favorite lines so far this season. He said, anytime you suffer, it's an opportunity to learn the depths of your mind. And I feel like that might, my dogs agree. I feel like it might even have been a quote that he said or something. I don't know.
Probably a line from Metallica or something, right? Yeah.
Probably a song lyric. Yeah, it had to be something like that but I did love it. I do like Ben. What do you guys think about Ben so far this season?
He's likable. I think the fact that he even said during the conversation afterwards that, good for them. He wasn't concentrating as much on the loss as typically people do. He was more or less, making a shout out to Banu, taking it home. So that was cool. Or not Banu, Yanu. Banu's gone. I'm smiling.
Smiling. Poor Banu, a million hearts.
Oh,
I'll give him a million goodbyes.
So I like him.
Yeah, I like him too. Very nice, friendly. I don't know. There's something about. I think again, big smile. If you're going on Survivor, get your teeth whitened, get your teeth straightened up, put on a big smile everywhere you go, because I think that's one of the keys to winning this game. It's just constantly, grinning at people and smiling. The smiling assassin win. That can't be overlooked, right? So maybe that's the one new school trait.
But I do think that people are like really understanding that Ben is going to be a threat because everyone likes him. He's great. He gets along with everyone. He's like, that is a target on your back when you come out that early and you're like, making friends with everybody and everyone thinks you're the coolest and funny. And just like even Charlie, what did he say? Something about, I just like being around him. He just makes camp better and stuff. So it could get him in trouble.
And keep this in mind. It was such a great heads up strategic move for Charlie whenever him and Maria were trying to discuss, okay, so is it going to be your alliance or is it going to be my alliance or who's this going to be that we're going to be voting off? Because she was kind of saying, hey, like everybody's seeing Ben as you and him being a tandem. And Charlie was very good about making sure that she knew not only part of his strategy, but to include that, hey, like he's here to help both of us because he's a shield to at least me, which means he's a shield to you. And I just thought he did a fantastic job illustrating how you can play with another person and watch yourself and say the right things when it comes to getting one of yours voted out.
Yeah.
I have to
you see that so much in the Australian Survivor. They vote off the wingman, the number 2, and keep the shield, but weaken the shield. I didn't really understand that. I was like, why not just vote off the person who's going to win? Why not just vote off Kirby? Why are you voting off Kirby's henchmen? It's like, well, you know, I guess it's for this reason, because you do want to keep her around like Pharos did, so he doesn't end up becoming the target. So I did think that was like you said, Brandon, a very smart move by Charlie. And that alliance there, that Denise Malcolm alliance, pretty low key. You know, they're both playing pretty good there. So,
and now they have some trust, because that's what a vote does. I don't know if you guys ever played an online reality game, and I know that you get to eat while playing, that you get to eat Pringles and Doritos and all the things. So it's not really anything, but the strategy is still there. And I was in an episode where one tribe did not go for like 6 different votes, and that next vote, they're so surprised when someone tried to make a move. Because you know you're sleeping, you're not doing much of the whole entire game. So Jim, I had a question. Here's Brennan saying Jim played too hard. Here's my thought. She showed no strategy after they lost. She went looking for an idol with no one. I mean, she had time to do math. She had time to measure things. She had time to get a machete. If you have all that time, that means you're not talking to anybody. Nobody's talking to you. So the fact that she did not consider, hey, no one's been talking to me as I've been doing all these things. Gee, I should probably play this idol tonight. I don't get how that did not come. And I think it's because she was asleep, because they didn't go to tribal council.
Yeah. They'd never been there. They didn't, you know, she wasn't feeling that pressure and wasn't thinking those steps ahead, and just didn't put it all together. But you're 100% right. No, she should have realized. I was really surprised with the fact that she could use that machete and walk around with it so much and like do all this stuff. And like nobody, like she's obviously doing something if she's counting and measuring, and like it just didn't make sense to me that she got away with that and nobody was paying attention to her. And it's because they were glad she wasn't there so they could talk about her.
And you guys were exactly right. I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, when she hid the thing and then they dug the hole, where you guys both said, I don't think there's any strategy involved with that. That was more her having fun. And I was hoping there was a little bit more to that, but there wasn't. I don't think that she had much of a complex strategy except have a good time and yay, I'm going to get excited when I'm getting an idol, and forget there's a second, third, fourth part of this game.
Whole lot of game left.
Well, I think she got like high on her own supply, because before she had the idol, she was playing a very reserved game. She was kind of timid and meek and quiet. And then she got the idol and she's going around with a machete, bossing people. Hey, tell me what you can, and you know, really interrogating people, playing too hard. Right. And that was why they didn't want to vote Ben, because Ben, they showed him, he was sitting on the beach looking at the sunset. You know, so he maybe is really likable, but Jem made herself way too much of a target. And then it was really weird too when they got back from tribal. She's like, I'm going to go look for an idol. And I don't want you guys to follow me. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, okay, like you were this
type stuff.
Nice, yeah. You're not this nice, you know, and then all of a sudden, personality switch, right? Big tell.
And I like what Brennan said about when you put it, like all of those fire ants or whatever they were, those big ants, and first of all, she had a dig in there to bury it in there. So she probably got attacked, I was thinking. And then you're just going to let people dig in there for like 3 days and play it off. And I don't think she, you know, I don't think she just was very smart about the whole thing. No. She could have just left the chest there without the note on it. And then they would have been looking for a key and it wouldn't have been so suspicious. They would have been like, oh, well, it looks like we have to find a key. So
and she should have just left the idol there if she's not going to play the damn thing.
Yeah, true.
Leave the whole entire thing there and get somebody with an idol and then have that suspicion on, oh my gosh, I don't think she may, I don't know. Who do you think played a better game? The 4 that got voted out. Who played the best game of Banu, Jelinski, Jess, and Jim? Who played? I can't pick.
Jess.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't the best wherewithal on it, but definitely not Jelinski and Banu. Like they're out because you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that Jem just didn't put together the right game. I think she was. Oh, here's what I'll say again. She did not have situation awareness. And I think that was her problem, right? She just wasn't paying attention. She was in her own little world. I'm going to find an idol. I'm going to do all this stuff. And I'm not going to pay attention to the rest of the tribe. and then I'm not going to play my idol because I'm going to save it for whatever.
Oh, God.
So
how she's pretty young too, right?
yeah, I think she is pretty.
31. Gem is 31. She
Okay.
ain't a spring chicken, but
Yeah.
she's old enough to know better, I would think. But
Old enough to know better. I agree.
yeah.
Jelinski went to Brennan. I like you.
Yeah, Jelinski. He would have made good TV. I'll give him that. Like he was going to definitely make good TV. Way better than Banu.
Way better than Banu. Yeah.
Poor Banu. He's been getting.
We're mentioning.
I mean, they really. I don't even want to give him any more airtime, but I do feel bad for the stuff he's been throwing at him since that. Like, that's got to be hard. And editing really played it up a lot. So it was a tough break for the guy, but it was
in other cultures, he's not from America, right? And in other cultures, having reactions and expressing yourself a little bit more when you're experiencing humiliation or frustration or pain, people flog themselves and flail, it's much more common. And so there is like a cultural thing there,
kind of like a soccer game when somebody gets hurt on the field.
Right. So definitely feel.
We're down 3. I'm hurt. Yeah.
Well, if
have you been watching what he's been doing on social media? Has he been active on social media? I mean, no publicity is bad publicity. I mean,
that's true.
So you should whatever. Just do a freak out every day on Facebook Live. You should just freak out. When the people in the commenting, he's like, no, like the TikTok lives. That would be fun.
Yeah. He's given us lots of memes, and that's, with all of his, especially the laying down just in the middle of the path. Like, no. So I think we'll see I think Bono will live on in our hearts.
But I'm not giving it to him. I'm not giving it to him.
But it is what it is. I haven't.
In your heart.
They had to take stuff down from Facebook groups because it was just too much. But Banu bashing, so it was tough. It was a tough one. But one thing I wanted to point out that we did see that I thought was cool, because this answers my question. So I have this like I kept saying, okay, so what if they tribe swap and the chest is buried, or they don't get back and they can't get their vote back, and what happens? Hunter for coming through for me this week. Another highlight to my week, besides the fact that we saw him climbing the palm trees like there were nothing. Thank you for that as well. He said there is a clause on the parchment that says if you don't lose, if you don't lose an immunity challenge, you still have an opportunity to get it, which I was like, thank you for that. I needed to hear that. I needed to know what was happening with that. So that was good for me.
Yep. Yeah. To let us know what's going on next with this. But I'm really hoping that this series of voting out these players that really had no game whatsoever, I don't think, really means that we have a lot of players still in it that are about to play the game. I'm getting concerned about the season because in Australia they've already voted out 2 players that had a strong strategy, and so far I'm growing concerned. How about you guys?
About Hunter just being.
No, I'm sorry. I went back to the vote outs and stuff like that. I'll go to Hunter here in a second. But do you guys think that there's a little bit of concern for this season as far as will there be some dynamic gameplay later on?
Like they're keeping too many strong people, essentially, is what you're saying?
All the strong people, yeah, right. Yeah.
I really hope we see a ton of it. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think you've got some people in there that are going to be really strategic. You've got Q showing up to the journey and let's make a plan and let's form this special alliance. I thought that was really smart. Yep. That was brilliant. Way to go, Q, to really set that up. So Tim's got Maria, Q's got Tiff, and Hunter's bringing Tevin. And I think you got 6, you're going into a merge. You pull a couple people in because we know we're merging next week. And that's a lot. I think it's at 13 players. So we have to, we'll see what happens. They just need to bring in really one person to get that. And I think, you know, Q could bring Kenzie in pretty easily to that, and they would have the dominant alliance. And then that would be the way to go, in my opinion. I thought that was really smart. What did you guys think?
Hunter's on fire.
Yeah.
Hunter's on fire. I mean, he's got the Brochachos alliance that was created on the island with 6 people that he didn't initiate, and to get him even on this island, he didn't pick the 2 other people he wanted on there. So typically, you know, you see somebody, okay, I want that guy and that guy. Well, you know, the second tribe, they said, you know, whoever wants to go, let's do this. And then I think it was Q that said, I'm gonna go. So he's just in these alliances naturally that he's not having to do much work to really show too much game. And then he has that idol no one knows about. So he's in a great place.
Yeah. Well, he's a big guy, but he's a kind of a small personality. Yep. And there are some other big personalities that could maybe be more of a target than him from just a likability standpoint, because he's so reserved. Yep. I thought it was interesting that Q did the fake out to Kenzie. He's like, oh, I'm thinking I might quit. And I was like, what? Like, this athlete guy, you know, never quits, you know, you'd think, and then he's like, oh no, I was lying. Right. And I was faking Kenzie out. So I thought that was, I didn't see that in Q. I didn't expect him to fake like he was going to quit. I also thought it was weird. They haven't
seen Australia yet, so they don't know about the Raymond fake out. So
right. Well, you know, Brendan in the chat said, speaking of Hunter, can you lose a vote that you don't have? So yeah, Hunter found the beware advantage, loses his vote, has to wait to the next tribal count, or has to wait for their team to go to tribal in order to get his vote back, and then he can get the idol. But he lost his vote twice now because he lost the challenge. He had to do the challenge where he had to match up all the logos, which you would think for this guy, it would be the easiest thing. I was like, oh, this challenge is made for him. And then I think he got one wrong, which screwed up the entire order. But I was like, how did he not get that? I'm sure he's kicking himself for it. But
okay,
listen, you think that was like
we had this conversation. We had this conversation before we went live. Brandon asked me, he's like, would you have been able to do it? And I have seen every episode of every season 3 or 4 times now. Could I do it? Absolutely not. Because I also didn't always watch them in order. And it's a lot of seasons. And so for me, it was like, I probably, would I have gotten 8? Possibly, because I would have known that I could have probably done the first set pretty well, but like as we get along, I don't know. What about you, Alex?
But he builds the challenges in his backyard. Like, he's obsessed. He's a super fan, like more super fan than Carson, you know, like he's a super fan. I'm sure Carson would have killed it, but I was like, this is totally in his wheelhouse, but maybe not.
However, it's the whole, going back to the gym thing. Yes, Hunter has more dimensions of his game than Jim has, but to have the brain to be able to articulately and chronologically put a group of episodes together based on a logo compared to having a living room full of all the things in the world, the guy only has so much time on his hands. He's too busy making things and doing the challenges than watching and chronologically ordering these. Plus, he said his roommate, I thought that was a good explanation on his part, saying, hey, I watch his favorite seasons of my roommate. So as far as the order of these, oh my goodness. And we're going to see if we can do that here a bit later, right, Bree?
Yeah, we're gonna play around with this a little bit. So one of the things about this challenge, and I just give it to the producers for putting this one together, because he's like, why aren't you asking me specific questions about episodes or about seasons and not just having me put logos to like that? Like, he was like, I would have been able to answer questions, but maybe not logos. And now Brennan, I know, said he could have done it if it was multiple choice. So good on you, Brennan. I don't know, I couldn't have done it, but how amazing was it? Just, they're starting to bring back these glimpses of old era Survivor that I am all here for. Like,
we gotta see Debbie. We gotta see Debbie.
I know. There was so much, and I'm pissed, which is classic. That's a classic line.
One of my favorites of all time.
But we got to see it, all these people, and I just think that was a brilliant, that was such an amazing way to play it out, like having that in mind and being able to bring back, seeing Rob, seeing Sandra, seeing Parvati, seeing all of these, Rupert, like there was like Tyson, like all of these amazing players and winners and things that just, we crave the nostalgia of it. Right. And so as soon as I saw Rob come up on the screen, I'm like, oh, Alex is going to love this. So it was really cool. And I love that. So bring more of those on.
I totally agree with you. One of the redeeming qualities about Ghost Island was the fact that every time they went to Ghost Island, you got to see reminiscence of a particular screw up of using an idol. And this was kind of cool too, to kind of show, the old survivors come back for a little reunion. It was cool. I love that.
Well, I said this, I think Survivor is going to continue forever, and there'll be this, in 150 years, they'll be literally, I really do think this, and they'll like, these people will literally be like lore. It'll be like these, and it'll be like a peek, a window into how life used to be. We look back on people in like the original 2000s, and we look at them and say, wow, they dress so different. They act so different. Their values are so different, how they interact with people, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. It's like a little time capsule. For us too, we also have the experiences of watching it right in real time or live or wherever we were when we originally watched it. Which for me, like I said this, like every time I hear the intro song, I literally get goosebumps and I get excited, and I'm like, it's
every time
Wednesday night, we're having Chinese food, and
every time Alex sings it or speaks Australian, we like, yeah, exactly.
You have to wait for next season, Australian Survivor, for another Toasties. Yeah,
I know, for more Toasties and Tim Tams. We got to get some Tim Tams.
So question, I don't know if we answered it. I don't even think we know, right? With his we've never seen that predicament before, where
a double vote loss.
I
think it would go for 2 tribals then. Maybe.
I feel like he'd only loses his own. I feel like he'd only lose it once. But the other one, as soon as they go to as soon as they go to tribal for the other one, he essentially gets that vote back, but then he wouldn't have a vote, because as long as he goes and gets the idol, which unless he couldn't get away from camp for some reason, it's kind of a guarantee that once you lose, you'll go get the idol. But
could you imagine? Could you imagine if Hunter doesn't have a vote on the merge vote? That would just be so upset. You are the best player going into the merge. You haven't had a chance to vote anybody out, and yet you go home because you don't have a vote. I hope that does not happen. Oh my gosh.
I like Brennan's opinion on this. Double negative equals a positive. Hunter broke Survivor. Oh, that's amazing.
Gamed it again. Yeah. Is that expert level at it? Yeah.
Yep, that's what I would do. I do think there's a lot to talk about still. I wanted to get back to something that Brennan had said, that merge is going to be fun to watch. It did ramp up. I think that, like Brandon, what you had said, we've been in the slow-mo mode for the first 5 episodes, but now we're going to go. It's the weaker players are already I don't want to say weaker players because they couldn't do the physical challenges, though some of them weren't the strongest there either, but weaker players when it came to like gameplay and attitudes and things like that. I think those are gone. It's going to be there's going to be a toughness to these players now. Yeah. They form these alliances, they form these bonds. I think Siga is going to be a really hard tribe to break apart because they went so long together and they formed such strong bonds without ever having until last night to like vote each other out. I think Mariah is really going to be screwed, to be honest with you, because she was the one that was left out last night.
Yeah. And she doesn't really have anywhere to go. I could see her maybe teaming up with Kenzie, since, like I said, they kind of look alike. They're like sisters. But yeah, she doesn't really have anywhere to go. So it was a smart kind of move by them, because Maria can just wrap Mariah back in. Hey, it was nothing personal. She was playing way too hard. And Mariah plays a really low-key game. And so she'll understand that and say, okay, well, that's my lesson. Just stay low-key. Don't, form any waves. And yeah, I agree that the Nami tribe, the Nami tribe is Hunter, Soda, Tevin, Venus, Liz, right? And Liz is kind of on the periphery. She's not really in with anybody in particular. She's just kind of a Lone Ranger, independent entrepreneur type. You have Soda, Tevin, and Hunter together, right? And they're really strong, and they're very, Soda's very and Tevin too, very clever, conniving, could really get in. And so I but then you have Venus out there, right? What's Venus going to do? Is she going to go with Q? Is she going to go with Kenzie because she identifies with Kenzie and maybe Q, right, on that level? That's something that I could definitely.
Well, we have to keep in mind that when we get to these merge situations, there are going to be the free agents, and they go from being an easy vote off to an easy vote we can pull in.
Swing.
I think that Venus is fine for a while. I really do.
I think Soda should be worried. I think she might be the next one to go. I really think she's she might be the one that goes at the first at merge.
Yeah.
So
well, and you have
go ahead.
I was going to say you have Charlie and Maria there in the middle. And so they're also in a very good position to go a lot of different ways because they're both very non-threatening to a lot of people. There's so many more targets. And but go ahead, Brandon.
And when you play this game, you have to make sure that if you're getting to the island and you're castaway, to kind of go back and look at the last 4 seasons. And don't worry about the rest because your job, once you get to that merge, especially if you are a Q or a Tiffany, and Q did this amazingly, to make sure that he points out, don't do what they have been doing. That is, if you're a big tribe, and I think Hunter, well, I shouldn't say this is more Hunter than anything else. Hunter is in that tribe of 5, right? To where, shoot, I'm getting this all mixed up. There's 5, 5, and 3, right? Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Okay. My mind's working far too much because this is exciting. I'm now getting the excitement from it. Hunter needs to make sure that he does not just partner with his aligned 5 because there's Venus who's kind of in trouble and they're not setting something. They haven't even gotten to a vote yet. So there is not a whole lot of trust that has been broken. So there's not a lot of huge trust. That excellent Q. I'm not sure who I'm giving this credit to, but Q coming in there and coming up with a strategy to say, hey, we're going to have the majority of 6, even though he's found this tribe of dwindling numbers, is huge. I haven't seen. Can you guys think of another Survivor episode where this happened? Where someone was so quick to have the confidence to make a tribe of 6, like in a 5-second island trip?
I haven't seen it.
Can you remind me too who the whole 6 was that are involved in that?
Yes.
So it's Hunter, Q,
and Tim were the ones that went on the journey. Tim's bringing Mariah, Q's bringing Tiff, and Hunter's bringing Tevin. So
it was very strong.
Those are all power players. I mean, pretty much. You got. I think the weakest one in that 6 would be Tim. To be honest with you, I think he's the weakest of the 6 there because I think Maria's super strong, and she could bring Charlie with her, which would make a great set because she's going to want to keep Charlie around. I think Q and Tiff could bring Kenzie in at any point, but I think they'd dump her at any point. I don't think. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. Every time she goes, what are you guys talking about? It's like, what? It's not a good thing to ask. It's a little bit too forward there, Kenzie. I thought she was a little bit more sly than that.
Yep. And then you've got Hunter and Tevin, and I like Tevin. I think he plays a smart game. I think he's pretty close to like everybody. And he definitely has the people he wants to get rid of, which I do think is why Soda's in trouble, because I don't think that's one they'll bring in. Like if they were like, oh, we need one more vote, it won't be Tevin won't go, oh, let's bring in Soda. Well, even though they're tight.
Yeah, Tevin was the one who already was thinking about voting off Soda, correct? Okay.
Yep. And Hunter was really into that.
Nerves. Yeah. She's going to piss people off when they all come to camp together. Those songs are not going to go well for her. She is going to irritate people. And sometimes if she doesn't know how to tone it down, right, you got to know your audience, and you got to know, like, it's not the time to make yourself a big character. When you come into a merge situation, you definitely want to sit back just a little bit, observe, see the dynamic, see how everybody starts to mingle and get together before you start doing that. So if she does not pay attention and she becomes that big character, that's a big target that's going to immediately go on her, because she'll be an easier vote for everyone. Be like, yeah, we don't like her either, or she's annoying or whatever it is. And it'll be less feathers ruffled at the first vote. So,
and thank you for bringing a Hayden Moss quote to the podcast as well. The rustled feathers or ruffled feathers.
Yep.
All nostalgia. Just love it.
I do like this. Amy says that's when it gets interesting. Bring on the game playing when we do hit merge. Agree. That's when it does get interesting. That's when the game begins. I think that's when we see it. Brennan was saying, I love Q. Remember earlier in the season, he was falling on his sword after losing. Yeah, he doesn't do well with losing, but I think in my eyes, he redeemed himself with that, that alliance plan. Like that was just pure brilliance to me.
The alliance plan and that 14-second using of the, what's that thing called they used to
slingshot.
14. I clocked it. 14 seconds. They showed him slow motion hitting that piece of obstacle.
They were definitely going for that big epic moment, right? Because Jeff set it up perfectly when he said, if you lose again, then, you get another record. That's not a great record to hold, but still. And so it was like this whole big thing. And, they love it.
Jeff got him.
Jeff got him. And then that quote of, is this how it feels?
Right.
Oh my God.
It feels to win?
We've never felt this feeling before.
Right. Please, sir, can I have another? Yeah.
Here we got more people that are trying. Brendan, we love it. We love when people do impressions. Alex is our resident impressionist that comes on and takes on the Australian accent and sings the songs. And so now we've got Brendan saying, my thoughts last night. Ooh, someone's playing Survivor in Jake's voice. So Alex, you want to take your hand at saying, doing a little Jake for us?
Someone's playing Survivor. We got to chow some shark. That's my favorite one. Oh man, I could really go for a fish, or I could chow on some shark right now. Who was that guy? He was way back when. I always forget his name, but that's one of my favorite Boston accent moments. Chow shark.
Here we go.
Don't hear that very much.
Gotta do it.
I don't hear it at all. That's good. I love that.
Yeah, and I do want to say, hey Frank, welcome. Glad you're hopping in here. Soda's name was not even referenced this episode, though. Hunter's name got called up in Tribal. Soul Survivor target is dangerous. Too many eyes on Hunter. Agreed. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for whatever reason, Soda wasn't in this episode. You didn't really see Tevin. I mean, for as long as the episodes are, you'd think everybody would get a little bit of speaking time, but they just keep some people. There's always those people, even in Australian Survivor, they have so many people you say, when did this person get in the game? Like, I haven't even, it was like that for Scotty. It wasn't until like halfway through the game, you're like, where did he come from?
Scotty. Yeah, right.
Yeah, who's Scotty? Where did this guy come from? So, yeah, I agree with that.
I think Hunter already has to play the I need to keep on winning immunity game right when the merge starts. Like, he's got to do that. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But again, another piece, that Brochacho 6, if they can make that work, holy smokes. That is some cool stuff. It's so wonderful to see that Q is playing so much better of a game than I like Caleb, but so much better of a game than Caleb did. And I, one thing is, Caleb smiled a lot more, so he appeared more cocky confident maybe, or at least too much of a smoozer, to where Q is pretty like, no, I'm assertive. Like, this is what I mean. And again, like you mentioned, Alex, that sometimes he does things where he doesn't necessarily have to do them, like lie to Kinsey about how he's feeling about the game. But it's like, okay, I guess I could see that, work in your advantage sometime in the future. So I'm loving Q as well.
Yeah. He does a lot to, like he is a threat, physical threat player. He's a good player, very super competitive. Yeah. But he's done a good job of like lowering that target by being a little bit more on the emotional side. And then with Caleb too, very articulate, very very well spoken, very convincing. Q, like we said, he's got that Southern accent. He's a little bit more like JT, where people underestimate people with Southern accents. They're just good old boys. They're just friendly, hospitable. Yes, ma'am. That type of thing. So he's done a good job bringing down that target. And it's in Hunter's interest too, to do that Brochacho's alliance, because he wants to keep those hyper competitive guys who are like, I'm going to take on Hunter. I'm going to beat him in the challenges, and they probably won't,
Yep.
You got a fan club, a cheer, Alex, for your Jake and stuff impression.
Thank you.
Good on you on that. I want to take a little break and go to our sponsor. We are sponsored by the Great Discovery. Alex, if you want to pull up anything, or you want me to pull up anything, I'm terrible at
why don't you
that.
pull it up? Okay.
I don't have anything pulled up, but I can do it.
Okay. So the Great Discovery is an e-learning platform. If you are a course creator, a coach, or a speaker, the Great Discovery is a great platform for you. Not only do they help you host and sell your course online, they actually build you a powerful team of affiliates to go out there and to promote your course on a global scale. And they can do that because within the platform itself, there is a language translation software that allows you to take your voice and translate it into over 100 different languages. And so you can literally translate your course into Chinese and sell it in China, and then have a group of people locally in that country promoting your course. So it's an amazing course platform. We host our courses on there. And the great part about it is it's actually cheaper than a lot of the other course hosting platforms out there. It's cheaper than Kajabi and Go High Level and Teachable and a lot of these other places. So go check out the Great Discovery. We'll put a link below this podcast, this video, if you want to click on it. And yeah, any other things to say about the Great Discovery, Bree?
No, I just love the translation. I got to speak 5 languages I don't normally speak this week in my demo reel. So I was speaking Mandarin and Spanish and Swedish and Hindi and French, and I loved it. It was super cool. And I love the ability of what it'll do. And when they come out with the plugin for Zoom, where you'll be able to have a conversation with anyone in the world, no matter what language they speak, and it'll be real-time translation. It's a game changer. And I love this platform. And I'm so proud to be sponsored by them and be a part of their amazing program that they have there. I can't wait to if you want to learn how to podcast, I'm going to have a free podcasting course on there. We'll put all the links in the chat afterwards. So thank you guys for listening to that. Appreciate it. I wanted to move quickly into Maria for a second, because we saw Maria play her extra vote.
Oh, did she really?
She played her extra vote. She had
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so if you watch till the end, and when they show the votes, right, when they show everyone holding up their vote, when they went to Maria, she had 2 parchments in front of her. One of them said Gem, and the other one said Jamelia. So she played her extra vote, and I don't know why.
Yeah, so the numbers on that, I mean, you have Ben, Charlie, Maria, Mariah, and Tim all voting one direction. So who did they think was going to flip? Ben?
I don't think they knew that Ben didn't have a vote.
I think there's no vote. There's again, I think that's part of a first vote, is that nothing, even though you say you trust this person, you got nothing to build off that. So I understand why she did that. And I think it's kind of cool that she spelled it 2 different ways. I'm surprised they didn't say much about it, because I didn't recognize that at all, Bree, at all. So
yeah, I didn't recognize that.
Yeah, I was picking up on all that they were putting down. There was a couple things that tribal and at the end there, and I thought, you'd want to hold that extra vote for merge personally, because that could be a big flip. And I think Maria's, unless she really felt like she was in danger, and I don't think she felt that way, I'm pretty sure she would have been pretty confident to not play. That's just me. I mean, if you're considering playing that extra vote, it's such a powerful weapon to have. Do your due diligence, do some homework, and figure out, you're close to Tim, you're close to Charlie, you have these, you kind of know where Jem and Mariah are going. I think that she should have held it. I wouldn't have done it.
Well, like Brandon said, it was kind of like you don't really know where people stand, but they were in such a good spot. They were kind of in the middle of both of these alliances. And if you were going to do an extra vote, you would usually do the extra vote for a split, right? You'd throw one on Tim and one on Jem. So I can't even think of why she would do that unless she thought, oh, somebody's really in danger, or, because let's say it didn't go their way. It was a tie or the wrong person went home. Well, then Charlie and they're SOL, right? Where do they go from there? They've ruined an alliance. So they really needed her to go home. I understand that, but.
And I would have done it. I would have played it. I don't know if that would have been a great move for me to do so. I think you're on the island. You do not want to be the first person on your tribe to go home. So I would play it again. It probably won't be one of the decisions where I'll be like, oh, I guess I didn't need to do that. But I think I would have felt anxious enough to go ahead and do so.
Yeah. But
Well,
if so,
Frank said, go ahead.
I was going to say, if Tim and Charlie and Mariah were all voting for Jem, and they didn't know if Ben had a vote, and Jem and Mariah are voting for Ben, well, Ben can't vote for himself. So it wouldn't have been a tie. I mean, I get it that she was trying to play it safe and ensure that Jem went home no matter what. But like Ben's vote couldn't have gone to Ben. So because if Ben had, see, we had 2 and we had 3. If Ben had voted, though, he wouldn't have voted for himself. So it would have been 4 and 2. Unless there was a rando vote.
There was a key statement that Maria made at the tribal. Now that I think about it, was, Jeff, we're all lying to you. And I think they showed that in order to show kind of where she was mentally, saying, okay, like, I know I've lied. I know I've been telling people I have alliance with them, or I'm voting for them, but I need to keep in mind that I need to be not naive and think that everybody here is telling me the truth. And I think I would have played, and I think it wasn't a great move on her part, but I don't think it was a bad move on her part to play that and be safe.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad. But like what Brennan said here, she did tell her alliance that she was playing it. So maybe just to keep trust. And that's true. And that's a good point. Yeah. I like that point.
They don't even know if she did, because it was so unanimous, right? They only read four votes. But I'm also in the camp of, like, if you're nervous, play it. Example, Jem. I mean, she had an idol, went home with an idol in her pocket. That is so common now. I'm on the camp of, if you have it and you feel it at all, better safe than sorry. You don't want to go home with it in your pocket or unplayed or thinking, I should have. Like, because they get put back in, right? They get circulated back in, and you can just go find it again, or.
And now here's my question: did they show both of her votes? Like, did Jeff show 2 of hers and didn't show someone else's?
No, they showed her all. They showed her 2 votes because people didn't know that, they weren't sure Ben didn't have a vote. So they actually showed
all the votes.
All the votes, I believe.
Okay.
So I was thinking that too when he was reading them off, like, well, how will they show this? But then I remembered Ben didn't have a vote, so no one's technically really realizing. So there was 4 votes to get Jem out. And so that's why we knew she was gone. And I think Ben had 2 votes. So that's why I'm saying Mariah is going to be in a tough spot now, because they know that Jem voted for Ben, but there's another vote for Ben. And that would have left Mariah out high and dry, the only person that voted for Ben that's still in the game.
Well, and Frank's right too. I mean, in this game of where you go to this place and you could lose your vote, and there's so many no votes, and then there's the beware advantage that comes with a no vote. Like, who's lying that, yes, they might vote for you and they might be in your alliance, but does that person even have a vote, and are they telling the truth about it? So that might cause players in this season in particular to play those advantages more often, which is another reason why Jem oh my gosh, Jem.
Yeah. And I think, Mariah said it best when she was saying, we're going to our first tribal. We've never been for 10 days, never been. We don't know what's going on, who has what. There could be idols in play, no votes in play. We have that you can play your dice, right? You can see, you can find out. So we don't know the shot in the dark. Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen. There's so many variables in this game. So I guess it does make sense that Maria was like, I'm not screwing around with anything. I'm just going to play the vote to be safe, to at least give us more votes towards the person we want gone. And she left without them even knowing. So they don't know that Jem found the idol, right? They don't know that. So there's still going to be that, who was the person that made us dig in ants for 3 days.
And if it was Jem, why didn't she play the idol, knowing that she kind of is oh my gosh.
Because she doesn't have situation awareness and she wasn't paying attention. That's why.
Well, she didn't even tell Mariah that she had the idol. And we saw this with Caroline on Australian Survivor. She has an alliance. She has people that trust her, but she's like, And I'm on the fence about, like, should you tell people about your idol? Should you keep it secret? I mean, if you look at Ferris, he hints at it. There's that threat. And so just like with Tim, they didn't want to vote on Tim because he might have an idol. And so alluding to that you have an idol, you know, maybe that's the thing that Jim should have done. Maybe she should have put a little bit of paranoia in people like, oh, I might play it tonight, you know, or at least tell Mariah, because then Mariah could be an ear. And then if you approach Charlie and Maria with that, the merge is about to happen. Why don't we go into the merge with an advantage, an extra vote, and we don't have to tell these guys, right? So, and was she going to keep it a secret the entire time? You know,
This
so
is
what's
why I
her
don't
plan
play
there?
chess. I do not play chess at all.
And it goes back to, this was the first time they've been to tribal council with the lack of trust.
Right.
You need to fill it somehow. I don't think you tell anybody, but I think you play anything you have on that first tribal just to save your neck. Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Yeah, Jem definitely should have played her idol, and why not? Why not?
Yeah, play it if you got it, because you went home with it in your pocket. Now it is, you know, a piece of memorabilia that you have after that. Well, we got a little piece of information at Tribal last night. I don't know if anybody heard it, because I'm sure we did. We heard Jeff. We heard my dogs go absolutely nuts, but we heard Jeff say, "I'm going to be here forever."
That's right. That's right. We'll take it over, Bree. Don't worry. Yeah, Jeff's going to be there forever. Animatronic Jeff Probst, or AI Jeff Probst. I'm here for it. Yeah.
We can only hope.
Well, that's good. It confirmed our need for lifelong Jeff, and I guess we're going to have it. So 90-year-old. You know, same to Jeff, right? You got to dig deep. 99 episodes, 99 seasons of Survivor. Dig deep, Jeff. So we're here for it. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you being here forever for us.
They get the tribal council, and it takes, you know, it shows all 20 seconds of him sitting down onto his log that he's been sitting on. And this is, all right, let's talk, guys. Takes him 5 hours to go get the pot to bring it back. He can't read the
walker.
Yeah, he gets
stops, takes a step, puts it forward, walks, takes a step.
Yeah.
This vote's for Tony. That says Blair, Jeff.
He gets his readers out. Woo! We got fireworks going on. I do love those.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you know, and I said a long time ago, you know, when we came into this new era, I thought maybe he was gonna be done. Like, he was looking for the next thing, because he spends a lot of time over in Fiji or wherever they're going to be having these, and he's away for a long time. It is a lot. He does put a ton into this. But there's something that's special about Survivor. We see it with certain players, and also with Jeff. We see it with Sandra. We see it with Tyson. We see it with Rob Sesternino. We see it with Rob Mariano. Some of these players, this is their life. This is what they do. I talked to Nina, and she was like, yeah, every birthday, every Christmas, every Easter, it was all Survivor themed. We always did that. That was part of how we, you know, how I grew up and how things happened. And I think that it's such a life-changing experience for some people, really and truly. And they embody it. There's such a love for what this game is. And this is why there's so many fans across the world, so many super fans that love everything about what Survivor is. And it means different things to everyone. I know why I like it and why it's so special to me. They're like, it's still on? Yeah. And I get to see people struggle and fight and try to survive. And as much as production does their things, truly they're there. The bugs are really biting. The starvation really happens. The rain really pours and soaks you. And you have to work together with strangers, and you have to build a community and work together. And that is why it's so important. And that's why I think Jeff and all of these really true longtime players will always have Survivor as part of their life. And I think that's why we'll see Jeff until he literally physically cannot do it any longer.
And speaking of nostalgia and old time survivors, did you see Rich Hatch is going to be on the next House of Villains?
Oh, wow. That'll be
nice. Is he?
He is.
Interesting.
Far removed from any reality TV content. So I watched the first one for like 3 episodes and I got tired of it, but it'd be great to see Richard Hatch. And I agree, Bree, that was inspirational.
Thank
I was going
you.
to say that was a beautiful homage to Survivor. And I think Jeff has really been re-energized by the younger demographic getting in and things changing and them going in a new direction with kind of production and the angle on things. So I think that's been really cool for him to say, you know, we actually are attracting a younger audience. There's a kind of a new life. He's mentioned it so many times. The new era, you know, what does that even mean? And when did that actually start? And what are the qualifications? You know, but I think for him, it's that new audience. It's that new listenership that came in, he said, through COVID that really, you know, attached to the show, binged the entire show. And I think they're kind of catering it to, you know, that demographic even more. And then you'll start, like I've been saying this, I can't wait for the Gen Zers to come on. And, you know, they're a different, you know, they're built different than a lot of other age groups. So I'm excited to see those people come on and see how they play. And I do feel like we could get some Gen Z villains. And I would love to see that.
Yes, Brennan. Their host is amazing. JLP, man. I love Jonathan LaPaglia. He is amazing. We love him. If there's anyone comparable to Jeff, JLP is the man. He has got his own little quips and things that he says. He's just as powerful and really, really amazing host. So check out, if you want to watch Australian Survivor, I'm not supposed to say this, but go to Facebook and to The Tribe Has Spoken. Join that group. And what?
2.0.
2.0. Yes, The Tribe Has Spoken 2.0. Check it out. There's lots of information on Australian Survivor in there. So go join us over there. We are all over in that group as well. And it's amazing.
And Brennan, let's Spill the Immunity change your life. Go check out Australian Survivor. Start with season 2 if you don't have patience. But start with season 1 if you do have an extraordinary amount of patience.
Love it.
Season 1 is good if you watch it till the very end. It's lousy if you watch the first like 8 episodes.
And I started with Blood versus Water. That was my first season because Nina told me she was on it. And I was like, I gotta watch my friend Nina be in this, and her mom was in it. So if you're a Sandra fan, I mean, start anywhere you like. But that was my first adventure into Australian Survivor. And man, I was hooked after that. That was it. And I have not been disappointed at all. Neither are my dogs. Sorry, I got puppies. And they found their voice this week, so they bark incessantly. So as we wrap it up, I wanted to kind of get who do we think is going home next week after we hit the merge? Who's the target?
Well, we're gonna have a merge, right? We think, and it will, like you said, it's probably gonna be a merge. It'll be 13, but they will likely vote off one more person who will not make the merge, right? So they'll go to merge, but the next person who voted off will not make. Mergatory,
right? Won't they do the mergatory thing? You think?
Mergatory.
Yeah, where 6 people. That's a thing, right? Where 6 people win a contest and they don't get voted out, and the other 6 are the
Yeah. You're right. And then so there'll be certain people who are safe, and then certain people, and then they won't make. What is it called? I watched every single season of Survivor. What is it called? When they're on the panel.
The merge feast? What?
No, like when you vote them off and then they come to tribal council.
I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm just
the jury.
The jury. Thank you. So the person who gets voted off won't make the jury. Yeah, it's called the jury.
You were gonna leave them hanging there, Brandon. I saw what you were doing.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
So who's not gonna make the jury? That is the question. Who's not gonna make the jury?
I was making you dig a hole and see that there's no box title in there.
Yeah, I know. That's what all the ants were coming out. I know. You left poor Alex.
I Jim
for me, yeah. It made me look like a fool. I think it'll be Liz. I think she's just too far on the outside. She's an easy vote. She's kind of wily. She could be that swing, but I feel like she might just be an easy vote if she is on the chopping block. Because she's like, I'm not going to go look for an aisle. I'm going to stay in the shelter. I'm not going to go strategize with people. Why do I need to do that? I'm Liz. Money. Yeah, and I don't need the money either. It's like, okay. You don't want to be on the jury, which I now understand. I've learned that term after 45 seasons. Then get out of here, right? So I like Liz in general, but she's not playing really at all. So I think she may go. What do you think, Brandon?
I want to say, I'm disagree with myself as I say this, but I'm going to throw out a name out there. I think it's going to be Kenzie, only because I think both tribes are at 5-5. I think there's the Brochacha. I think Brochacha is going to work. I really do, for at least 2 or 3 votes. And I think that Yanu is such a power 3. And there's not a whole lot of trust with Q with Kenzie. And I don't think he needs Kenzie right now. And he could easily throw her off to show how unified he is with this Brochacho plan. So I'm actually going to go with Kenzie. I feel weird about it, but Kenzie.
No, I like that.
Okay. And
I
then
like that. That's smart.
You're getting confirmation from the audience. Brennan's got it. I agree too. Okay. I think the key to that was he will show his loyalty by voting one of his own off Kenzie, right. and that's going to be the end of it.
That will lower his threat level too. So, I'm not so strong. Yeah, totally right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be between Kenzie and Soda. I still do believe that Soda, Tevin comes into this and he's like, all right, if we're voting, I can't handle this anymore. We got to get her out of here. I think it also makes a statement because she is a big player, big target, all of that stuff. I think that would also show loyalty because they're supposed to be kind of tight. If you think back, right? If you think back to the Banu trip on the journey, he spilled the beans and he said, these are the people that are together and these are the people that aren't. And they were saying, well, Tevin, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's either going to be Kenzie or Soda. I think that's going to be the dynamic. We heard them saying, we've heard Tevin say, I can't. Soda's like part, but I can't with her. I need her gone. So it'll be interesting. Well, that's where our money is this week.
Okay.
Crazy. Wow. I think we start the show next week for the first time. It's going to get wild and loud. And who's going to emerge as our big villain? Because I want a villain so bad.
It's going to be so much fun to watch. I am now excited. I was concerned, and then we started talking about things and started evaluating the process and being like, holy smokes, this could be really good. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Alex, any final words? Nope. No. Got enough. All right, guys. We'll see ya. Be back here next week live. We love seeing you. Thanks for everybody new that was in the chat. Brennan and Frank and Amy was here, and we appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around.